Hello, everyone. I'm John Higgins, contributing writer to Film and TV Now, and I am delighted to welcome one and all to this interview special with Terry Stone, an actor and producer who is also one of the advocates and senior executives behind a new film and TV cryptocurrency platform called FilmCoin. Other advocates include Courtney Semmel, who's an executive producer and daughter of the former Warner Brothers executive Terry Semmel, who presided over such amazing box office successes, including the likes of Chariots of Fire and Unforgiven, which won Academy Awards. Terry, a warm welcome to you.
Yep, thanks for having me on, John. It's good to meet you.
Okay, so my first question is cryptocurrency is still a relatively unknown to some people. I mean, what would you say are the benefits of FilmCoin over the traditional financial outlets when filmmakers want to raise capital for their projects?
Well, the thing that attracted me to the whole thing was I got approached by a tech company in September, and they basically said to me, "Have you ever thought of using NFTs to fund a film?" And my initial response was, "What's an NFT?" And then when they explained it to me, I sort of got my head around it, and I think essentially anybody who creates content, what crypto, NFTs, the blockchain, the digital way of doing things that's going to basically become the everyday norm is the transparency. And I think there's millions of independent film fans around the world. There's hundreds of thousands of independent filmmakers around the world, and the one thing that we've all got in common is if I want to go out and make a film, I'm not going to get a backing from the BBC or from Sky or from Netflix unless I dance to their tune. And then obviously that, if you like, strips away the independence of independent filmmaking. The government in this country have obviously removed a lot of the tax breaks and the tax benefits, that supported a lot of these films. And what that's meant is there's been obviously a lack of output, and there's a lack of content, and that's driven obviously mostly by this COVID and the restrictions, but also because there's no tax breaks. So if you're an independent filmmaker and you want to raise money to make a film now, you have to go and raise the money privately. So you either need to find some crazy rich person who just wants to fund your films, or you've got to find individual investors that believe in your vision and want to back you. Now, obviously, when you're asking somebody to invest in a film, there's no tax breaks. You're basically saying, will you invest and risk, all your money in this film? And, some people like supporting the arts. Some people like supporting independent films. But again, it's becoming harder and harder around the world to do this. And obviously, there's so many people that are sitting in the chain. There's the sales agents, there's the distribution companies, and relatively most of them aren't taking any risk, and they're basically just taking their fees, their expenses, their commissions off. And every time I do a film, I've got into the habit of auditing the people that I'm working with, and every time I've audited, I've found that somebody has not paid me what I'm due. And obviously the process is 2 or 3 years of waiting. And what I like about what we're doing is that on the blockchain, if anything's sold, if any deals are done, it's in black and white. You can't blockchain, you can't change the blockchain. So if you're an producer, a director, a writer, an actor, and you're on net profits, you'll be able to look at the blockchain and see what you're due, and you get paid it straight away. There's no waiting for 3 months for got to invoice, and then it's got to go in the collection account. Then everybody takes their percentages off. So that was the thing that drew me to it initially. And then as I've got into it, and as I've discussed with many people, the film coin could disrupt the business as we know it, but in a good way. In that, the content creators, basically take back control of their content. They get their films made, and they get them made on their the way they want them made. And I think a lot of people like creative control. Obviously, you don't give up all the creative control, but one of the worrying trends for me is if you look at the latest film that I starred in and was produced, The Rise of the Foot Soldier Origins. That film is the 22nd most streamed, downloaded, and consumed film on Amazon. Now, that was a low budget British film, right? So you say, well, how is that possible when there's all these other 100 million, 200 million pound films with all these big stars? But, you know, if we'd have took that film to be financed, the BBC or, you know, Netflix or Amazon or Sky, they would have all said, well, you know, we don't really, you know, it's a little bit, you can't really have so much swearing in it. And you know, if we'd had the checklist of what we need to do to make them happy, we'd have probably ended up with a film that wasn't as popular. So for me, I just see this as an opportunity of helping the independent film industry get back on its feet. I definitely think there's going to away from people going to the cinema, and I think, you know, lots of people now. I mean, you know, once upon a time, I'd get on a plane or I'd be on a train, and I'd see somebody watching a film on a phone, and I want to smack them around the ear and say, "What are you doing? You're not meant to watch a film on your phone or your iPad. You need to watch it on a big screen." But what's been, you know, an education for me is the up and coming people that are, you know, from say probably 3 years of age plus, are all being conditioned to watch content on iPads and phones, and you know, they're not bothered about going to the cinema. They don't care about the cinema. You know, I've got 3 kids. One's 18, one's 47, and they never asked me to go to the cinema. I have to say to them, "Would you like to go to the cinema to watch this film?" And they look at me and go, "Yeah, all right, Dad." You know, but there's no you know, incentive from, you know, when I was a kid, I you know, I would be like, "Mum, Dad, can I have some money? I need to go to the cinema." I drive my parents crazy, but because I wanted to go to the cinema. But I think as people's viewing habits have changed, a lot of people now have got big TVs. A lot of people have got a Netflix and Amazon and Apple subscription, a Disney subscription, and they're just sort of sat at home and they're quite happy to watch content on their TV or their devices. And I think that also plays into what we're doing because, as I said, you know, we're basically we're fusing, if you like, crypto, NFTs, and film, and no one's ever done that. So we're going to be the first company in the world to do this. And you know, I've created some really exciting content. I've got, you know, urban movies. I've got true crime films. I've got family stroke entertainment. You know, I've got Christmas movies. I've got a film with an Oscar-winning director about the Shah of Iran, which will attract an A-list cast. So I've got a real diverse slate of content that I want to get made. And, you know, this is going to basically enable me to get it made using this crypto. And obviously, you know, I can't obviously make hundreds of films a year. So, you know, as the film coin launches in February and as the NFTs launch, the NFT platform launches and all this stuff starts happening, we are going to be looking for other content. So there's definitely going to be opportunities to help other filmmakers benefit from what we're doing. And obviously the long-term goal is to become a production stroke financing studio. You know, that's the end goal. But I think the initial thing is we've created the assets. We're now going to launch it. And then once it's launched and it's on the exchanges and it starts trading, that's when it becomes a reality. Then when we make the first film via crypto, people will be like, wow, you know, these guys are actually doing it. So I think all of that stuff is going to come into fruition over the next couple of months. And by March, you know, we'll be flying and you'll be seeing it all happening. And you know, I've been producing movies for 18 years. So the actual execution, the production of films isn't going to be, an issue. And the people that are actually involved in this from the tech side, there's some ex-Bitcoin.com people involved. And you know, everybody to about this has been, you know, this is a great idea. You know, I wish, you know, somebody had done this sooner. But I think people try to do, you know, sort of media related crypto and stuff. But I think the big issue's been that it's been too soon. And I actually was one of these guys who thought, oh, I missed the boat on crypto, because everyone keeps telling me, you know, they've made this huge return on Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. But I actually believe it's just the beginning. And I think the more the world goes digital, you know, if you look at the rise of the Foot Soldier Origins, you know, that was released in the cinema, but all the marketing was done digitally. There was no buses, there was no underground ads, there was no TV ads, there was no radio ads, there was none of the what they would call traditional advertising ways. And, you know, it just goes to show that, you know, you don't need to spend £5 million advertising a movie. You can do it on a budget, and you can do it digitally, and you can still have the same response. That film, got into the top 10 at the box office, and it was a low budget Brit film that was developed, produced, financed in a pandemic. So I don't think there's that many British films that can put their hands up and actually say, this. And I've actually made 3 of them. We did a documentary about the UK garage scene, and we've also done another film called The Last Heist, which is a British Reservoir Dogs. So, we one of the probably. I mean, I'm sure there's other production companies that have made content in the pandemic, but we've definitely managed to make and develop, a lot of stuff. So I definitely put the pandemic to good use.
Yeah. That's my next question. You've mentioned one of the projects, which is Requiem for a King, which is the Shah of Iran project, which and you've got 4 others. I mean, Tales from the Trap is the inaugural one. I mean, you've got something called King of Crime and the Cloud Supremacy. I mean, what sort of budget do these films have? What's the projected budget for them?
Well, the smaller ones are going to be a million. The King of Crime will be 5 million. The Requiem for a King will be 30 million. The Clause Supremacy will be between 5 and 10. It all depends on, what actors we get, where we shoot it. We made, me and my partner have made, he produced Nativity, which was a big Christmas movie. I produced another big Christmas movie. That Clause Supremacy is going to be brought to the world from the producers of Nativity and Saving Santa. So we've made 2 massively successful films in this space before. So what we're not doing here is reinventing the wheel. We're going to stick at what we do best, but at the same time, I mean the Shah of Iran story, that's taken us 4 years. We've been developing it, getting different versions of the script, and now we've just attached an Oscar-winning director to it. So, is obviously going to take it's going to do it. So that's the other reason why this has come around at the right time, because obviously normally you'd have to go to a studio and they have to give you their input, and then they'd say they want that. But doing it this way, we can sort of cast it and do it the way we want to do it. So, that's where the sort of empowering independent filmmakers comes from. And that's what I like about this new way of financing films. And we're going to do things like we're going to do NFTs of the films. We're going to do an NFT of the soundtrack. We're going to do an NFT of the poster. Depending on which film we do, we will probably get a relatively famous, if not famous, artist to create some artwork, which again we're NFT. So what I find exciting about this new digital space is the rules. There are no sort of rules. There is no sort of framework where you have to do things this way because everybody else does them this way. So that's what's exciting about it. We're doing stuff that no one's ever done before.
Okay. So obviously there are people who are going to watch this who are going to be interested to know how to take advantage. I mean, what is the first step for them?
Well, the thing is, the first step is they can buy Film Coin and support us. When it goes on exchange, tell people about it, because for us, we need to establish what it is, what it does, and the more people that know about it, the better. So, that's their sort of first goal. And then the second goal is obviously we've got a slate of movies that we're going to start making. And I think, once we launch the Film Coin on the exchanges, and once we get a couple of months into that and we actually make the first film using the crypto, then we're going to be in a position where we're going to be able to say, if you've got a project that, you would like us to consider, then you can contact us. I mean, people can contact us, they can register with us on the website, so they can be kept, in the loop, if you like, on the journey. But at the moment, there's no point us taking submissions from people that have got films, because, we've got to launch the coin in February the 28th. So once that's on the exchange, then in March, we're going to make the first movie using the crypto. And then April, May, that's when we're going to start saying, right, we're now looking for other people's content to consider for funding. So, as I said, it's going to be a lot more, easier to access than the traditional routes of funding. And, I've met many people in my years that have said, oh, I've got a film financier who wants to invest with you. But most film financiers, they want to invest in cash flowing tax credits or guaranteeing, pre-sales. There's not that many people that want to actually take a punt on a film. So that's obviously where we come in. And, it's a little bit like what Netflix have done, really. If you look at some of the films that Netflix have funded, that Scorsese film, The Irishman, for $175 million, nobody would have probably funded that because they'd have said it was too expensive. But Netflix did it, and obviously it was a big film for Netflix. So we want to be in that position where we're doing things that other people won't necessarily do for whatever reason, because there is a massive market. I mean, the independent film industry, I know that the majors dominate it, but it'd be interesting to see what happens over the coming months, because obviously a lot of the majors have gone massively over budget because of COVID, not just because of the testing, but also if you got to sit on a finished film for 18 months, that's costing you money. So, and if you've got thousands of people that work in your studio, they've all got to get paid. So, I think that there's a lot of people that in maybe the bigger sort of studios and production company world that have they've been sitting on things and they've not been able to get them done. And it's what happens, if the cinemas start failing. What happens if Netflix and Disney and Apple disrupt the business so badly that they become the only people left standing? And that might sound crazy, but it could happen. And that's what you've got to sort of consider. If Disney's so smart, if you look at Disney as a brand, they've they're the House of Mouse. I grew up on Mickey Mouse, right? So I've been to Disney World, so I'm a Disney fan. All my kids like Disney. They've obviously got all of the superhero franchises, the Star Wars franchise. When they launched their platform, that was a smart move for them. But I've heard that all the other studios are going to launch their platforms. Obviously, you said there's a Universal platform. Would people know what that was? So
yeah.
I think a lot of the studios are now sort of saying, "Oh, well, we're going to build our own platforms."
Yeah.
I sort of think, unless you're Disney or Apple, you've kind of missed the boat. So I think they're going to be I think those four companies that I mentioned earlier, if I was going to bet money on it, I'd say they're going to be the ones that are going to still be going in 2 or 3 years' time. And the world is being disrupted. The world is changing. It's been changing for the last year and a half, 2 years. So all I could, if I'm a boy, but if you was going to ask me what I thought was going to happen, I would say that everything's going to go digital. That's cash. That's films. There won't be any DVDs. There won't be any. And I just think people want stuff and they want it now. They don't want to wait for it. And I think that goes. And I think as soon as you get some content creators that create their own content and push it out digitally, and they don't rely on a studio or a distribution company or a sales company to help them get their content out there, they'll be doing their own stuff. And you can already see this with a lot of musicians. A lot of musicians, when they're coming out their contracts now, they're saying, well, I'm giving my music to a label. The label's exploiting it, and I'm getting pennies because they're putting it on Spotify and Apple Music. So if I take control of my content and say, well, you can only get it from me, and I NFT my album and I put some extra bits in there, I put my song lyrics in there, or I talk about what the inspiration was for each song. There's only 100,000 of these in the world, but they're going to be £20 or £30 a copy. The reality is you're probably going to sell all of them. And then you keep all the money. You don't have anybody taking percentages out or, waiting 6 months for a statement from you. You get paid straight away. So I just think that's what's going to happen, and I just can't see. I think when people see how transparent the blockchain is and they get their heads around how it works, I think people will start saying, well, actually, if I'm going to sell a movie to you, if I'm going to do business with you, I want it all to be done on the blockchain. I don't want it to be done how it's been done for the past, 30, 40 years. So be interesting. I mean, look, we're in interesting times now, and I'm quite excited. Normally in January, I'm quite sort of downbeat, and it's all like, oh, it's starting a new year. You're waiting for people to get back to work, and really nobody's back in the office working properly till the end of January. But I've been working all over Christmas, New Year. I've been working, the first few days in January. I've been on the phone talking to people, and I'm probably more excited about 2022 than I have been any year in my life. So,
okay. We're going to be winding up soon anyway, but I want to ask you 3 more questions before we go. First of all, let's talk about Courtney Semo. Now, she's the daughter of Terry Semo. Now, Terry Semo worked on so many great movies in the 90s. I mean, you're talking about Warner Brothers and stuff like that. I mean, I love the Terry Semo thing, things like Maverick, Lethal Weapon 3, and that period. I mean, how much of an influence, what's her involvement, and what does she bring to the table, given that she's got such a phenomenal pedigree as somebody who's actually worked within the studio system?
Well, this will make you laugh. So we met through a photographer I think it was around sort of September time. So, sometimes when people say things happen for a reason. I met her and we had a conversation, and she said, oh, this mutual friend of ours said we should meet, I'm Courtney Semmel, this is what I do, this is my dad, blah, blah. So we met up and we had a drink and we had a conversation. And, and then I said, I'll send you some stuff that we're working on. Love to collaborate with you. Love to see what we could do together in the film space. And then just out of the blue, I get this call about this tech company and this NFT thing. And then the conversation progressed from there to, doing a coin and doing this and doing that. And then I spoke with Courtney and I said, look, I'd like to, talk to you about this. Are you in this space? Do you know anything about this space? She said, well, funny enough, one of my good friends, Lindsay Lohan, is massively into this space. And she said, I've been looking to get into this space, but I've not found the right people. I said, well, look, this is the team. Why don't you have a chat to them, have a meet with them? So she met with the team. She got on the phone to the people in America, and she got her family office to kick the tires and to talk to people and have the meetings about the meetings. And, long story short, she said, I want to be involved in this business. She said, I'm, going to bring in all my sort of, she's really sort of like the American side of Filmcoin. I'm the UK side, she's the American side. And then there's obviously the tech people, there's the xbit.com people. So, what she brings to the table is obviously to, all the major players in Hollywood, and also connections to people via, her father, and just illustrated. I mean, he's. I think everybody would love to have his CV.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to have to wrap it up in a minute, but I've got one last question for you, which is, what are you most proud of about Filmcoin at the moment? Because obviously, I think that there's a lot to think about. We'll be thinking about, we'll be watching with interest in February and March when you launch the platform. And then, of course, as you've mentioned, no submissions yet, because it's going to be about April or May of this year where we'll be reflecting on it. I mean, what this sort of reminds me of is when people like the Monarch and Golan Neuron Globus launched Canon, and like Charles Band with Empire, and these independent companies that were, I mean, Charles Band's Empire actually had an interesting strategy for their works. They weren't designed for cinema. They were more designed for the home video market because of the faster return. Right. And with Canon, for example, they were very keen to get, I mean, I remember watching the Electric Boogaloo documentary and how they exploited it and what they created. But the vision seems very similar to what they were trying to do. I mean, obviously, we will see the long-term processes, but it looks very solid at the moment. So what are you proud of about, what are you most proud of at the moment about where the platform is?
Well, I think that what I'm most proud of is, I've been doing this for 18 years now. And I think if you speak to any independent filmmaker, I mean, I've had 8 companies go out of business owing me lots of money. Obviously, if I don't get paid, That means the investors don't get paid. That means the people that are on the net profits don't get paid. So when these companies are going out of business, you know, they are, and whether they're doing it on purpose or whether they're doing it because they genuinely having a bad time. But, you know, I think there's been lots and lots of producers who've, you know, been creatively accounted to, or companies that have owed them money have gone out of business, or sales agents have run off with the money. So for me, what I'm the most proud of is you know, it's like we're bringing in transparency and some sort of regulation into this business, because obviously if I'm making a film, and I can release the film digitally to, so if all the people in the world, if 1 million people in the world buy film coin and they've got a wallet, a crypto wallet with their film coin in, I can press a button and message all of those people and say, just to let you know, this film has been made using your film coin. Would you like to buy a copy of it? Right. And this will be a special, unique copy. All of those people are going to go, well, absolutely. Even if we don't want to watch the film, we still want to own a copy of it because it's the first one that's been made by crypto. So by that thing itself, that has got an intrinsic value. It's like somebody who, I think Jack Dorsey from Twitter, his first tweet, they turned it into an NFT, and I think it sold for something like $700 million or something ridiculous. Yeah, there's no value to that, but because it was the first tweet that the founder of Twitter did, there's a value to it. And you know, what we're creating here is history. And for us, if we sell, even if pounds, which is what you're going to pay for a digital copy of the film in anyway, right? If 1 million people bought that, it's £10 million. If the film costs us £1 million to make, we've made a £10 million profit. And we haven't got to wait 2 years, 3 years. We haven't got to wait for the marketing and the advertising money to be recouped. We press a button, we get the money, everyone gets paid. And that, to me, it makes it really simple. But that's what, you know, what I've tried to do over the years is just simplify my life. And what I like about this is it makes things simple. And you know, I think, as I said, the transparency thing on the blockchain is important. I think the fact that, you know, once we've actually got on the exchange and we're actively being traded on the various crypto exchanges, it then gives us liquidity. It then means that we're in a position where we can become like a studio, a distributor, a financier. We can do it all in house. And you know, the bigger the film coin grows, the better it is for the content providers and creators. And for us, you know, if we turn around and say, you know, you don't hold film coin, but you want to buy a copy of this thing, well, it's not a problem. Here's a link. You can buy some film coin. So then you buy the film coin to buy the film. So then what we're doing is creating a utility. So you know, a lot of the cryptos in the world, I think there's something like 98% of them are just based on somebody's come up with a name, they put it on a thing, people have used it, and then people believe, you know, that it's worth whatever it's worth. But there's not really that many cryptos that have actually got a business behind them. And this is what we're doing. We're creating a business. And we're not just, we're already in the film business. So we're not creating that, but we're already saying, look, guys, we're already doing this stuff. But as an added layer, we're going to do a crypto and an NFT offering. We're going to wrap it into what we're doing in the film world. And we're going to be the first people to do it. And I think that a lot of people that I've spoken to, just that in itself excites them. But it excites me because I'm thinking, you know, this is a way that we can, you know, we could potentially make a film. We could NFT the film. We could sell the film to all the film coin holders and open it up to the public. But we haven't. So all we've done is we've just said to people that, if you get a customer, would you like to buy a copy of this before it goes out? And then that then allows us, if we to go to cinemas, to go to Netflix, to go to Amazon, to put it on DVD, to put it on iTunes, we want it. But for me, the initial thing is, if it's like a proof of concept. Once you know it once and you can demonstrate how it works, how much money comes back in, how everyone gets paid, then I think we'll have a 3 mile queue, you know, knocking on their office doors saying we want to work with you. So that's and you know, Apple might want to come in and buy us one day. I mean, they got 3 trillion.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got to just say, Thank you so much, Terry. This has been absolutely fantastic. I think you're going to get a lot. It's a very exciting prospect, and I think there will be people who will be interested and they'll be watched with interest. So thank you very much for your time today, Terry.
Thanks for having us on, John.
Yeah. So basically, just to recap, if you're interested, it goes live in February 2022. And if you want to know more about the service, you can go to the following link, thefilmcoin.io. If you want to learn more about the inaugural film that they're producing, Tales from the Trap, you can go through talesfromthetrap.com. Do support independent filmmakers, check into independent film festivals and also the cinemas, which are still facing up to challenges, but do go to the cinema if you can, because it's a fantastic experience. And if you want to know more about more articles, interviews and reviews, which we do here, you can go to www.filmandtvnow.com. So Terry, thank you so much again for your time today.
Good to meet you, John.
And,
Thanks for your time.
And yeah, that sounds great. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.